Two churches in one morning. We got to move quick. So I'm back at my church and I am going to be fixing this cable run. And you'll see what I mean here in a second. But if you haven't seen my video talking about the ACANS PTZ camera that I installed here at my local church, make sure you check that out. So you have some context as to why I'm bringing in this 150-foot one-way HDMI cable. Okay, so currently what we did was install a SDI cable run for our camera that's going to be on our far side. So back here in our media booth, we have our cameras and audio equipment, and what we did was move our camera that was initially over here against our back wall, but now this is a PTZ camera. So we moved our third camera over to our far wall. However, the cable run, which is an SDI going all the way around, for some reason it wasn't working with the converter boxes. So first thing I'm gonna do is test out some upgraded Blackmagic converter boxes just to make sure that the SDI cable is good. But if not, we're gonna run this long cable. So let's get started. So I ran out of the house with my camera, forgot my microphone, so I hope the audio is going to sound good on this video, at least decent enough for you to understand and follow. Shout out to AJ, the CEO. I know you do this all the time. If you guys aren't following his channel, he shows you the behind the scenes, the setups, walkthroughs of church and ministry installs. So I'll link to his channel below this video. Definitely check him out. Much appreciative to him and how he does these vlogs and recordings. You guys make sure you follow his channel as well and like these videos if you're getting value from them. What's going on here is I have my OBS set up and the ATEM switcher that I brought in a couple weeks ago and moved over our camera. But the problem that I'm having is right now we have our ATEM set up for camera 1, which is our main, which is showing just fine. Number 3, which is our camera over here to the right, which is showing just fine. But that secondary camera that used to be our main camera that's against the back wall is not showing up on input number 2. Now, the current configuration was to run an SDI cable from this location all the way around to where that camera is going to be, because it's quite a long run. I think it's about a 100-foot SDI cable, but I'll link to everything that I'm using in the description. And then I had these media converter boxes. Because we weren't getting a signal into OBS, I thought maybe it was the media boxes that I bought. However, I just swapped those out with Blackmagic media converters, and the signal when I tested it the other week was intermittent. So I'm going to turn on the camera against the back wall and see if we're still getting intermittent, because I definitely don't want that. But I do have the solution with that long cable, which was brand new to me, which AJ had mentioned in one of his videos about a one-way HDMI cable. Now, I kind of like that concept to be able to eliminate any unnecessary equipment, and that way it helps in any troubleshooting. So that may be the solution for this setup. So let's get to rocking. So now that the camera's turned on, back at the booth and go to number 2, and nothing is happening. So I think it's a cable issue, to be honest, because the Blackmagic converter boxes, I've never had issues with those before. Now, because it's a cable issue and I took so much time last time to properly run this cable and make it nice and neat, that's the one thing I'm not looking forward to. But before I run cable, I'm just gonna make sure that this new HDMI cable works, and then I'm gonna run the cable. I should have did that with the long SDI cable, but hey, I thought it was gonna work. I trusted the cable. So let's get this going on running this new cable here. All right, so this is the iBirdie Active HDMI cable. And on the back here, it says that it's able for 4K resolution, 18 gig bandwidth, gold plated. So compatible with Apple TVs, Fire Sticks, Rokus, a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll see how this works. In the back here, we have our instruction manual. And again, this is a one-way HDMI cable, so you have to make sure that you're going in the proper direction because it has fiber built into it as well. For anybody that knows about fiber cables, you definitely do not want to bend and break your fiber cables. So we'll see how this is packaged, and if we have some flexibility on this cable. So it's wrapped up pretty well. So it says source side on here, so this is going to be on our camera side. And the other side of the cable, that off, says display side. So source and display, so we know which way is which. So display will be on this side. Before I forget, it also comes with a little adapter. So if you do decide to go into a TV on your display side, there's a USB adapter to HDMI right here. So HDMI in, and then HDMI into your display if you're going to need that. I'm running this HDMI to HDMI, so I don't need to actually use this because we're going into the back of the ATEM. So cable is run. We have more than enough length on the cable. Let's see if we can get this thing to work. All right, so it's plugged in on that side. Camera's plugged in on that side. Display side, we're gonna go into our number 2 on our ATEM. And bam, it popped right up. That is camera, our third camera source. So wow, much easier than using the adapters, and picture quality is coming in pretty good. Got to adjust some lighting to get it even more optimized, but now we have camera 1, which is our main shot, camera 2, which is the left one, and camera 3, which is our right one. So perfect. So I get to wave to the camera. So excited that is done. Now I gotta string this cable up. I will see you guys going over to the next church, and that setup, we have been going from a Zoom virtual presence for the last year and a half, and now we have got 2 AV cans PTZ cameras set up there as well. So if you guys are digging the videos, definitely make sure that you stay tuned, because that's the next place we're about to see right now. All right, church number 2. We are getting ready to finish up what we've started. We actually have gone from a Zoom type of live stream service, so it's more so a Zoom, not the live stream, and then had a Mevo camera, but now we are AV cans PTZ set up. So we're gonna go in here, help the media ministry get all set up, make sure we got all cables and routed, and be good to go for upcoming Sundays. Let's go. Now I know you didn't expect me to be back here so soon without showing you the rest of the setup. Well, the issue is my battery got exhausted when I walked in. I left it on as I started troubleshooting and my battery died. So I'm going to walk you through, using B-roll, what the setup was. Now, like I said earlier, this church was migrating from a full Zoom to live streaming, specifically live streaming towards YouTube. Now, in order to do that, they needed to transition and make sure that everyone was comfortable moving from Zoom to live streaming on YouTube. So we're kind of making sure that 2 things work. Everything's set up in Zoom and everything's set up in YouTube. Now, the church went out, recently purchased some new equipment, 2 Lenovo ThinkPads for both the media booth and for the area that's designated for the live streaming. Now, because the media booth is a little small, we're actually gonna set up on the back row on the pew and do all the live streaming there until that gets reconfigured. So with the 2 brand new laptops, 2 new AV cans, and the Field World switcher, that is the new setup for this church. So they made sure they invested into getting some quality equipment to pull off this live stream. Because initially what the thought process was using an existing Mevo camera, which they already had. And once we had the Mevo camera set up, it was great. But once they saw the power of the PTZ cameras, it just made it a no-brainer to just go ahead and upgrade to the PTZ cameras. The only main issue that we had here was audio related. We're actually running our audio from the headphone jack of the audio mixer because we're really limited on the outputs, and bringing that into the Field World monitor. But once we bring it into the monitor and bring it into OBS, the volume is extremely low. So what we have to do is go into the audio sections in OBS, go into the advanced properties, and increase the decibel level there. Now, there is going to be some troubleshooting to make sure that the correct settings come up every time OBS is launched, but if so, everything should be in good working order. So unfortunately, I couldn't show you all of that setup and what we were doing to make that work, but that is a recap of how it works. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure that you give me a thumbs up here. Make sure you ask me any questions if you have any. We'd love to try to help you troubleshoot and navigate this world of live streaming for your ministry. And then until next time, I'll see you in the next video.